Imagine, if you will, a day when people doubt the basic foundations of your faith, those dear concepts about atonement. Assume all you thought to be true was actually a misinterpretation. Imagine, if you will, a verse so profound that it might fundamentally alter your perspective on faith. Yet, it has been kept out of public view for innumerable years. Imagine a passage from the Holy Book that is so profound and disturbing that it has made doubters, religious leaders, and even enthusiastic followers wary of its message. One lyric so powerful, it will fundamentally alter your connection with the divine. But why has this verse remained invisible? Why would one be so terrified facing it? Jesus teaches a great lesson in Matthew 7:21-23 that essentially defines real discipleship. These strong words rouse the depths of modern faith. Not everyone who calls out to me, "Lord, Lord," will find their place in the kingdom of heaven. They show a dangerous misconception, whereby simply declaring belief in religious rites is insufficient. Actually, though, the reality is far more complex and far more deep. This chapter serves as a mirror, guiding us to face a challenging reality. Are we truly living the gospel, or merely playing a part? It begs the challenging questions many would want to avoid. Are we only performing ceremonies to satisfy those close by? Or are we actually pursuing the road the divine has prescribed? And should we thus find ourselves in such a state, what does that mean about our connection with Him? This poetry demands real truth and honesty in a society when the glitter of appearances and transitory successes rules first. It forces us to consider, what is atonement really costing? Come along on this route as we explore a sometimes ignored portion. What we discover today will fundamentally alter our viewpoint. This insightful journey through Matthew 7:21-23 exposes profound spiritual insights that demand we rethink the road to atonement and the essence of faith. The chapter tests our ability to see things from a divine perspective, therefore proving that the way to the heavenly kingdom goes beyond words or outward deeds of faith. Those who merely say, "Lord, Lord," discover a huge truth, transcending millennia of religious customs and social concepts. The Holy Book shows a substantial distance between appearances of faith and actual dedication, therefore exposing the true essence of a real spiritual relationship. In the midst of a vivid tapestry of belief, many souls freely proclaim their faith, pronouncing prophecies with great fervor, commanding spirits to depart with unmistakable strength, and creating wonders that captivate the hearts of many. Nevertheless, regardless of their size or frequency, these presentations could not offer the most crucial element that gives believing life: a true and evolving relationship with God. Over the years of this holy narrative, there comes a major and severe warning. This chapter serves as a sacred mirror, emphasizing the significant distinction between merely adhering to religious rituals and truly embodying the profound desire for obedience. "I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, even those who speak with captivating grace, perform wonders that leave us in amazement, and regularly cast out evil in the name of the Lord." It challenges the basic beliefs of individuals who follow their faith by means of outside signs, instead of striving for real inner transformation. Sometimes conventional preaching has ignored this underlying reality, maybe in response to challenges to recognized wisdom and concerns about authority within religious institutions. As we work through this book, we find a rich tapestry of meaning regarding the essence of true spirituality. In it, the author talks about what it means to really follow Jesus, going beyond shallow religious displays to a deep and life-changing conviction. This chapter challenges us to investigate thoroughly and surpass our behavior in order to assess the fundamental basis of our spiritual views. This heavenly instruction is really crucial in the spiritual terrain of today, when outward expressions of belief can overwhelm the deeper road of interior faith. It allows us to examine our inclination to link religious participation with true spiritual progress, and forces us to confront the numerous ways we assess spiritual success. Turning now to universal facts about actual religion and the holy bond with the divine, the message resounds in many civilizations. This chapter delves deeply into the essence of redemption, the goals of religious institutions, and the practical manifestation of faith within a society. It invites spiritual gurus and their followers to examine thoroughly their path of faith and the methods they engage in their holy activities. Should I tell additional tales of how this outstanding awareness shapes the fabric of modern faith and the road of human development in the society? Traveling through this turning point reveals its enormous consequences for contemporary religious rituals, as well as for the development of our own spiritual paths. The disclosures it offers force us to examine closely modern conceptions of faith and worship, therefore encouraging a thorough assessment and maybe change. People often carefully prepare and carry out spiritual rituals in the modern world to maximize their influence, therefore transforming believing into a well-rehearsed performance. Communities of faith dedicate their hearts and resources to producing changing events, complex, emotional personal stories, and amazing displays of divine power. These elements may not be dangerous in themselves, but they could build a tapestry that masks a true lack of real contact with the divine, therefore providing the idea of spiritual richness. Counting the guests, analyzing donations, assessing program participation, and applauding outer achievements, this modern perspective of believing often stresses the numerical parts instead of the essence. This chapter reminds us gently that in the domain of the divine, these metrics could not be crucial, even if they are remarkable. Seeking the real concord of the heart with his pure objective, the Almighty sees past appearances. The goals of the market have transformed the center of modern civilization, turning the holy road from something that can be neatly wrapped and sold instead of the profound journey of actual spiritual enlightenment. Many people searching for faith choose experiences that bring comfort and delight over the difficult road of true spiritual development. This chapter challenges the conventional belief that faith serves only as a tool for material riches and personal profit. It begs us to question if the show of spiritual might and the earthly blessings actually reflect the favor of the Almighty. Rather, it reveals a profound fact. True faith shows up as small acts of obedience and major transformation. The chapter especially addresses those in the role of religious leaders who have power over others. It is a warning against the alluring power of spiritual leadership and the risk of confusing public gratitude for divine approval. Some people may operate successful ministries, speak with enormous force, and draw attention to incredible spiritual skills, even if they do not have a real connection with the divine. In the era of social media, where believers often perform for their audience, this message is crucial. Sharing holy events and distributing moving stories to big audiences could lead individuals to pay more attention to appearances than to the genuine nature of bringing actual spiritual progress. The chapter challenges the devotees to examine if their religion results from actual dedication or appearances. This significant fact prompts Christians to scrutinize the core of their beliefs and the path they take towards their spiritual growth. Are they maintaining religious show habits or designing settings that truly support profound spiritual development? This chapter challenges us to reconsider our standards for spiritual development, as well as the holiday values of our faith community. Every believer may really connect to the call, which asks for an honest reflection on their own objectives and actions. It exhorts everyone to investigate the real nature of their interaction with the divine, therefore surpassing simple religious actions and successes. This route of self-examination can be somewhat challenging, since it may expose periods when we have replaced passive acts of religious devotion with real spiritual progress. Should I now explore more about the personal relevance of this chapter and its transforming ability in our modern spiritual roadways? The strong message found in Matthew 7:21-23 motivates us to begin a deep and important road and challenges us to seek real transformation instead of only appearances. As we manage daily life, it calls for a major shift in our view of faith and the road of spiritual development. This great reality inspires us to do our spiritual walk with constant accuracy and asks us to give every element great thought. Let us examine thoroughly the reasons underlying our religious activities, the genuineness of our acts of dedication, and the real center of our relationship with the divine. Are we only following the rites of our faith, or are we really trying to grasp and welcome the road laid ahead? The chapter encourages those who are committed to embrace a conviction that transforms both the heart and the corresponding behavior. True spiritual development calls for honest behaviors that enable us to have a solid and actual relationship with the divine. This implies surpassing the established roots of our religious life. This can entail throwing away customs that, however grand on the surface, do not nourish the soul. This metamorphosis on the road of faith calls for the development of spiritual activities, exposing the divine. Among them are regular intervals of honest introspection and silence. Analyzing the holy writings with a heart tuned for understanding and applying the divine will. Rather than relying solely on obligation, we truly worship based on genuine dedication. I dedicate myself to serving others not just out of obligation, but also with genuine love. Creating genuine relationships right at the core of religious groups is very important. The lesson is quite pertinent in times of spiritual struggle or doubt. It reminds us that true faith often shines most brilliantly in the face of adversity, not in the simplicity of recognized religious rituals. Usually, we find the core of our spiritual upbringing under challenging circumstances. One's spiritual viewpoint changes significantly after this realization. Not looking for fame or honor in their faith, real believers commit themselves to getting close to the divine. This can imply valuing more muted but more actual expressions of ministry, worship, and service. This chapter stresses the need for a community for actual spiritual development. While personal growth is crucial, it should manifest itself in genuine love and service to those around us. Real belief shapes events marked by actual relationships, group support, and a common dedication to widen one's spiritual road. This chapter finally asks us to journey on a changing voyage in our knowledge and communication of faith. It requires nothing less than total allegiance to the divine goal articulated in changed hearts and honest life. Though it might be challenging and unpleasant, this road provides the way for real spiritual development and a deep relationship with the divine. Should we look at other means of including this great knowledge in our everyday spiritual paths? A brave heart, prepared to face the uncomfortable truths about our own selves and our interactions with our spiritual paths, is necessary for real change. This last trip through Matthew 7:21 through 23 offers tremendous insights for group as well as personal spiritual development. This chapter pushes us to thoroughly review our behavior and the basic concepts guiding our faith, and invites us to follow a road of outstanding spiritual honesty. This route of tremendous introspection challenges us to consider the idea that some of our most valued spiritual practices may be more about self-affirmation than heavenly communication. Real transformation asks for a major and complete change in our approach to fostering spiritual growth. True faith grows from constant, modest dedication to the divine road put out before us, not from hurriedly chasing tremendous spiritual encounters or the acclaim of others. This could call for emphasizing the transformation of one's heart and soul. Genuine spiritual activity transcends mere appearances. These methods are meant to enable us to establish a deep and intimate relationship with the divine, therefore transforming our character and allowing actual acts of service to those living near. Growing spiritual awareness becomes essential as we traverse our faith, since it enables us to identify the real whispers of the divine from the echoes of our own religious inclinations. This road asks a dedicated heart to the sacred writings, honest prayer, and the wisdom of experienced spiritual guides. On this path, the essence of a real community becomes really obvious. True spiritual growth takes place in settings where people could openly share their challenges and help one another on their road of faith toward actual transformation. The chapter invites us to begin a long journey and motivates a change of viewpoint on our spiritual existence. Developing a real relationship with the divine that changes our life should be our first concern, not assessing our progress based on religious achievements or spiritual meetings. This change influences our contacts and relationships with those around us, therefore surpassing only personal dedication. True religion nourishes real love, compassion, and acts of service. It comes from hearts revitalized rather than from simple obligation. The passage in Matthew 7:21 to 23 exhorts us to gather our bravery and travel onto the arduous but rewarding path of true spiritual transformation from the simplicity of known religious acts and into, though it may be difficult, this road guides us toward a meaningful relationship with the divine and advances actual spiritual growth. This chapter serves as both a call to action and a cautionary tale, alerting us to the dangers of a limited perspective and guiding us on a path towards a more genuine spiritual connection. It challenges every committed individual to examine their spiritual roots and promise themselves true growth. At last, this insightful lesson pushes us to embrace a faith that produces real heart development and transcends mere religious activities. It requires our whole allegiance to the divine goal, manifested in real spiritual development and honest service to our fellow people. The invitation to real spiritual renewal draws entire communities and societies into a road of profound transformation, therefore impacting life outside the personal level. This last tour around Matthew 7:21 to 23 shows its immense value for community spiritual awakening and social change. The chapter invites faith communities to examine their shared rituals and beliefs very deeply. Many groups and cultures give tremendous attention to preserving massive undertakings and attaining seeming success. Nonetheless, this could lead one to overlook the enormous journey of fostering actual spiritual growth. This deep realization is aimed directly at people in spiritual leadership roles and leads to a radical shift in how we think about and use divine power. You have to give up everything and truly develop in your spiritual knowledge if you genuinely want to be a spiritual leader. It is not about success indicators or charm. The path of faith and the growth of Christians depend much on the message. Real spiritual development stresses actual transformation and personal contact with the divine, instead of either forwarding religious theories or imposing spiritual rites. This realization forces religious groups to rethink their role and interaction with the greater society in a world sometimes turned away from the sacred. True religious communities should show the power of transformed lives and the actual love they have for one another, instead of following after societal trends with grandiose shows or entertainment. The book catches the essence of real spiritual awakening and regeneration. True rebirth arises not from grand events or mass gatherings, but from actual humility and a sincere return to heavenly truths. It derives from a reconstructed life, rather than from a mere religious passion. This insight alters our route in spreading the good news and is in line with our calling. Real spiritual transformation and the growth of true discipleship should be the main priorities of true ministry, instead of statistics or outward success. Religious communities really need a major change in their definition of success and spiritual development. Real spiritual energy reveals itself in lives that have been changed, sincere relationships, and deeds of service motivated by the heart, instead of counting numbers, events, or successes. This message invites thought about how different faith groups use technology and social media. Despite the value of these instruments, they should never serve as platforms for religious display, as they supplant genuine spiritual growth. At last, the words of Matthew 7:21-23 offer a strong call for real spiritual transformation that reaches the core of people and the fabric of civilizations. It asks us to go from modest ceremonies into a true religion that changes our hearts, our lives, and our communities by actual submission to the divine purpose. In this last meditation on Matthew 7:21-23, we investigate the lifetime value and general relevance of its changing message over numerous nations, times, and spiritual paths. This chapter is vital and goes much beyond religious structures and beliefs to transcend their disparities. It connects the profundity of actual conviction with the hollowness of ceremony to appeal to the hearts of individuals looking for real spirituality. Its message is applicable to everyone from many backgrounds and religions. This insight improves the fabric of spiritual interaction among civilizations and shows the path to meaningful dialogue between several religions. True spiritual conversations focus on common experiences of actual transformation and close contact with the divine, not on theological debates or ceremonial activity. The young people of today might truly identify with the words, since they often abandon traditional religious systems in pursuit of actual spiritual experiences. It supports their assertions against religious hypocrisy and helps us to experience actual spiritual development. Against the emptiness of secular materialism and the rigidity of religious formalism, it is like a beacon. This truth is vital as we negotiate the rigors of our daily life. From the heart, real spiritual transformation shows itself to inspire a great resolve to help improve the surroundings, real sympathy for people on the fringes, and a great concern for justice. The Holy Book challenges us to evaluate the tight relationship between faith and our obligations in the public realm, as well as in our professions. True faith permeates all dimensions of life, influencing decisions in business, building social ties, generating civic activity, and improving cultural experiences instead of isolating religious practice in certain spheres. The lesson is still relevant today and throughout many civilizations, though the means in which authentic faith is expressed can vary from one civilization to another. The fundamental difference between real transformation and simply religious behavior crosses all cultural borders. Our book presents ageless concepts about the essence of real spirituality in our continually changing surroundings. It tells us that although the representations of faith and rituals could change with time, the basic longing for a meaningful interaction with the supernatural persists utterly. Matthew 7:21-23 offers a profound lesson with a road full of hope and the promise of what could be. Regarding simple concepts, it urges everyone to start a journey toward a richer, more honest spiritual life, based in true surrender to the divine purpose and the transformative power of grace. This eternal truth invites every new generation to transcend basic religious rituals and pursue real spiritual transformation that impacts hearts, changes lives, and revitalizes communities by means of a real relationship with the divine. Let us gather around the knowledge found in Matthew 7:21-23 and reflect on how each of us could personally show actual spiritual development in our contemporary, connected life. Emphasizing how social media and virtual networks are renewing expressions of faith, this chapter explores the developing trend of digital spirituality. Various challenges could impede the true growth of one's religion, despite the incredible technological advancements that facilitate closer spiritual connections and knowledge. Faith expressed in this modern era can manifest itself in intricate and imaginative ways. In this day of digital connectivity, one could question whether our social media expressions of spiritual experiences, prayers, and virtual worship participation actually reflect a deep transformation, or if they merely echo the words, "Lord, Lord," without the depth of genuine change. The road is to learn to distinguish actual digital expressions of religion from the theatrical presentations of spirituality observed on the internet. The blossoming feelings of faith and loyalty demonstrate the fundamentals. In the sphere of virtual churches, online prayer meetings, and digital Bible studies, the central focus of the topic is encouraging real spiritual development instead of being swayed by the appeal of technical wonders or the temptation of huge numbers. Still, the fundamental issue is, are these places encouraging real change or merely letting events of religious expression? This realization guides our direction in the sphere of online evangelism and digital ministry. The skill of spiritually guiding others in our modern times calls for a discriminating heart that embraces the tools of technology and firmly nourishes real spiritual development and a close relationship with the divine. The chapter opens with a concept combining the heart of faith with the realm of artificial intelligence. The timeless fact is clear. The need for actual heart development and a real relationship with the divine is unaltered as the winds of technology sweep over the domains of faith and spiritual adventures. In our day of constant communication, this fact challenges the faithful to keep their spiritual integrity in the physical and virtual domains. True trust should show in every interaction, whether in person or on the wide internet. Directly touching their emotions, the message leads the younger generations as they traverse the spheres of both digital and physical forms of expression in their spiritual lives. It provides direction for developing a true religion outside of basic settings by using technology as a tool for actual spiritual development. This insight alters the interactions between faith groups and the beauties of technological growth. As we welcome the advantages of modern technology, let us be cognizant that they should guide us toward actual spiritual development instead of merely refining our outward, faith-related professions. Encouraging a real spiritual transformation that speaks powerfully in every setting and media. The timeless advice offered in Matthew 7:21-23 assists believers managing the continually changing landscape of technology, particularly in our search for real authenticity in a culture that often feels produced. The profound lesson of Matthew 7:21-23 speaks to the spiritual concerns of today. As we navigate the wonderful landscape of modern technology, this holy book provides continual guidance for developing true faith in the face of surface connections. These days, amidst the wonders of virtual reality and artificial intelligence, it's crucial to discover what truly transforms our hearts as the boundaries between spiritual journeys and religious rituals become increasingly indistinct. The chapter paints a scenario combining belief with the advances in contemporary technologies. Though new methods could arise to interact with and contact the holy, they should never replace the real relationship with God. Virtual prayer rooms, artificial intelligence spiritual advisors, and digital religion encounters should create true transformation instead of just repeating the words, "Lord, Lord," without any significance. This profound truth tackles the difficulty of preserving actual spirituality in a culture full of artificial objects and false beliefs. As the miracles of technology produce intricate simulations of spiritual encounters, the need for real heart transformation gets ever more urgent. The message provides great insight into what it actually means to engage in a real community in the contemporary digital environment. Rooted in the bonds of support, the call to duty, and the path of collective growth, the core of a meaningful spiritual community remains even if circumstances change and gatherings dwindle. This knowledge guides faith groups as they negotiate the complex junction between the advances in technological innovation and the deep roots of spiritual authenticity. It challenges Christian communities to embrace digital tools that improve rather than replace actual spiritual growth. The phrases appeal to those who will follow the convoluted paths where conviction and creativity mix in the next years. It offers timeless teachings on how to foster actual spirituality in the face of rapid technological growth. The core of knowledge penetrates awareness, the definition of intelligence, and the secrets of spirituality. Despite the blurring of boundaries between humanity and the products of our own production, the fundamental yearning for a genuine connection with God and profound transformation persists unwaveringly. While the faithful remain focused on real spiritual development and communion with the divine, this everlasting message shines brilliantly, guiding them across changing technological environments. It also clarifies genuine faith. The chapter is outstanding. It challenges every age to move above the old traditions and modern means of worship and seek actual spiritual development above all man-made limitations. The last insight from this deep portion exposes the real objective of real spiritual transformation, overcoming synthetic and human limits to reach actual interaction with the divine. This ageless knowledge invites us to explore the main forces guiding our spiritual path. Beyond the rituals and contemporary innovations, there is a deep search for the real nature of our interaction with the holy. This chapter underscores the path towards genuine spiritual growth. This metamorphosis does not come from weak gestures or surface changes. It emerges from a real heart shift and a sincere submission to the will of the Almighty. This insight alters our path of spiritual growth going forward. Though the tools and methods could change, the fundamental necessity for meaningful transformation is still knowledge of God and our identity under Him. The essence of truth, which reaches the core of actual spirituality, transcends the boundaries of our current civilization and technology. It reminds us that actual religion transcends all human constructs, derived from custom or developed from technology. At last, Matthew 7:21 through 23 shines as a timeless light of truth, guiding the faithful through all ages and toward actual spiritual change. It invites every generation to develop a meaningful relationship with the divine that sincerely subserves God's design, transforming hearts, lives, and communities, and surpassing simple performance and pretense. This finishes our comprehensive journey through this vital scripture and its applicability for actual spiritual living everywhere and at all times. Considering the excellent lesson we just discussed, I have strong belief. The statements from Matthew 7:21 to 23 carry a weight that is both disturbing and necessary. They invite me to investigate the wholeness of my own belief, that which not only queries whether I utter the appropriate facts, but also whether my life actually reflects the divine intent. It reminds us gently that faith is a daily journey, a profound transformation inside us that is genuinely expressed in our actions of obedience, love, and humility. It is not merely a declaration or a collection of exterior gestures. Among other things, the film today reminds us not to let our life float aimlessly while we follow religious rituals or social mores of spirituality. Not, how do others view my path? But, what does God see of me? That is the actual issue. Does my path line up with His intention? Am I truly hoping for a meaningful transformation, or am I just acting out a part? This chapter invites us to release our masks, face our personal difficulties, and establish a close, real contact with the divine, a link that cuts across appearances and ceremonial behavior. So, like the challenge I set for myself, I offer to you one. Schedule some time today to reflect. Consider the real core of your belief. Does your behavior reflect your strong values? Are you looking for others' approval, or have you really committed to your divine destiny? This chapter should motivate us instead of making us terrified. It will guide us toward real improvement. Let us begin a path of conversation, exploring the depths of the Holy Book and raising one another as we accept a faith that profoundly alters our hearts and lives. This is not only a call to take into account, but also a means to embrace a life of authenticity and follow a road true to oneself. Are you prepared for a challenge at this level?